Scotland head coach Steve McCormack. Any questions, please?
Well, Steve, you're out. You've been knocked out. How does it feel?
To be knocked out?
You've been knocked out of the competition.
Oh, yeah, disappointing. You've been knocked out of a World Cup, haven't you? But I think when you look at the full story of what Scotland's achieved in this World Cup, you know, nobody expected us to be, for me to be sat here for Scotland to play in the quarter-final. So, although we're disappointed to be knocked out, I don't think there's no disgrace getting beaten by the Kiwis, the fantastic team, and you know, I'm immensely proud of what the players have achieved over the last month.
You created a lot of chances, haven't you?
Yeah, we did, but you have to take them, don't you? You know, I think early on in the game, you know, we created a few chances, and you know, the Kiwi team, you know, you've got to take every chance you get. You know, every scrap you get, you've got to take, and you know, they benched the ball a couple of times, went the Kiwis' way, and you know, they only need a sniff of an opportunity. And you know, if I wasn't the Scotland coach, I'd be probably standing up clapping myself at some of the tries they scored. To be fair, they was awesome, but we dug in. Second half, we really dug in. We could have collapsed, but that's not the Scotland way. And as I said, I think the effort, they give absolutely everything. You know, my lads in there, and very proud of that.
You must have been screaming at Danny to look right and pass right when he broke through there. Would it give you any chance of going at least 6-4 ahead?
Well, you've got to take your chances, like I said. You know, Danny, I think as the game went on, Danny started getting a bit more quality ball. You know, he made that initial break, and you know, as I said, you know, we didn't take that chance, and against world-class teams, you have to do. But I think Danny did a lot of good things as well as that.
You must be really pleased at how the part-time lads really stood up tonight as well.
Well, I don't think you can underestimate what those players have achieved. Look at David Scott on the wing, Ben Halliwell. He's been a standout in the World Cup. He's played against NRL established players, Super League established players, and he's been outstanding. And then you look at Alex Hurst, who's not got a club. Matty Russell, obviously, just come back to Warrington. He was excellent, and I think the whole group. Adam Walker, Luke Douglas. I think Luke Douglas has been outstanding as far as, you know, we're probably getting any World Cup team. Luke Douglas with his performances for us, and that's not exaggerating. He's been fantastic. So they've all contributed to what's been a real adventure over the last month.
I suppose the question now is what's next for Scotland?
We have to move forward. You know, this has been on a shoestring budget. You know, players have, you know, been away from the families and been away from the work for a month, and you know, it's never been about finance for us. You know, it's all about representing Scotland. But hopefully, we'll see that this tournament we can kick on. More businesses will want to get involved with Scotland Rugby League, and you know, we can move forward and prepare for you know, European Championships next year.
Steve, are you keen to stay involved? What's your situation?
Yeah, I'm obviously keen. You know, I've obviously assessed everything after the World Cup. You know, I'm immensely proud of. I always am. I always have been immensely proud of being associated with Scotland, and none more so than today. You know, for them to walk out and see the flower of Scotland, see the haka, it doesn't get any better than this. So I'll obviously sit down and assess what's happening after this World Cup and take it from there.
Steve, how short-sighted? I mean, Scotland and RL have been talking tonight about central funding being taken away from Scotland. How short-sighted a move is that in the light of Scotland's progress?
I think it's not the time and place to discuss that. I think you know, again, everything needs to be reassessed. You know, it's all about what we've achieved in this World Cup for me, Chris. I think, you know, we've done it by everybody sticking together, everybody knowing the values and the honesty which we've set. And I think that's for another discussion, another day.
Danny, what are your feelings about what you've achieved in this World Cup?
Bit of mixed emotions after today. I know, you know, we weren't expected to win and things like that, but I thought we could have done a bit more things on effort. But I'm so proud of the lads and so proud of what we've achieved. And you know, coaching staff's been great, and all lads have, you know, we've behaved and done what we've had to do, and you know, we've got along perfect. And yeah, I'm so proud we've achieved what we've achieved. But you know, I'm disappointed we're out as well. But you know, it was to be expected.
Does it feel like it can be the start of something though?
Yeah, most definitely. And like Steve says, if we've got to push on, we've got to try and get in the Four Nations, and you know, hopefully we can get the lads over that's played this year, and Peter Wallace, Luke Douglas and Kane Linnett, and you know, I think they've been outstanding for us. So if we have a decent team next year and a good crack, you know, we never know.
As man of scale, how good do you think the Kiwis really are? You faced them tonight.
Yeah, I think they're really good. I thought for the first 10 minutes, I thought we were, you know, in the arm wrestle. And like I say, I thought a few effort things by not getting back on side quick enough killed us around the ruck, did Isaac Luke. And, you know, when the rot starts, it's pretty hard to stop with a good team like that. And, you know, it doesn't matter who you face or, you know, what team you are. I've had bigger drubbings with Huddersfield than I have tonight with Scotland. So, yeah, it just depends. And I thought we dug in and dug his heels in at times and really worked for each other. And sometimes we just slacked off, but, you know, that's what it is when you're up against the world's best.
Who's your tip to win the tournament then?
Put me on the spot. Well, I haven't played over 2 teams, so I'll say Kiwis.
Steve, I was going to say, does this give you an appetite to be coaching full time, or does it work quite well with your college job to do Scotland?
It's given me an appetite this World Cup. You know, I've had 8 months off, you know, for being enjoying my time with my family. But being in and around players like Danny and playing in big stages like this, it's certainly got my appetite back for the game, and you know, I've loved every minute of it. I really have.
Danny, do you think you should be coaching full time?
Yeah, you know, I've been coach for Steve for 10 years, and you know, if any time there's a problem or I have a problem, you know, we can talk to each other. And I think his man management's fantastic, and he gets the respect from any team he has. So yeah, I'd probably say he deserves a job, definitely.
Are you going to work with Wigan, Steve?
No, I've read that myself, Ian. No, there's a few options. There's a few options available. Obviously, I'm full-time teaching at the moment, but there has been a few options which have cropped up. Wigan is one of those. You know, just working with some of the scholarship kids, and you know, there's an option there with Warrington, which is with my day job as well, and a couple of other jobs have been offered during the last few weeks. So again, just sit down and assess everything after this World Cup.
Steve, if it is to be England next week against the Kiwis, who do you think might come out on top?
It's a big call. I think England's momentum's starting to go. I think when it gets to the knockout stages, you've seen New Zealand there, they're clinical. But England can perform well on the day. The Aussies can, you know, but you know, it's an open World Cup. You know, the big three are obviously, you know, way in front of everybody else really. But I think it'll be a cracking game. But you know, you can't rule out some of the others as the USA and obviously France will have a say in that as well.
Danny, can you talk us through what your view of that tackle on Sunnyvale Williams in the opening minute?
Yeah, it were an awkward one, but I wouldn't say it were malicious. I think he probably got more trapped than he did, you know, squeezed. But yeah, it's one of them. I've just been in seeing him. He's all right, so don't panic.
I'd just say as well that after the game, with the Kiwis had just come into the dressing room to you know, meet our lads and everything, and you know, the way they handle themselves off the field as well, which we all know, is fantastic. You know, some of our young players are in there. You've got, you know, all the Kiwi players and you know, the world champions obviously on the field, but off the field as well. They act that way as well. So you know, great moment for the Kiwis coming in our dressing room like that, and the coaching staff.
Any more questions? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Cheers, guys.